Now the next drill is known as the 3-cone or L drill. And the way it's set up is you start just like in the last shuttle drill, hand in the dirt, and you're going to explode out 5 yards to the first cone. You're going to touch that right hand, bend the knees, drop the hips, pivot, turn back to your original starting point. Touch again. Now we get to the second cone. You're going to come around the cone. Well, don't decelerate. You've got to accelerate around the cone and then weave around the third cone. Now that third cone is the high point of the L. Don't slow down, dip, whip, and turn around that through the second cone, continuing in the arc all the way to the finish line. Now, what does this test? Well, how quickly can you change directions without losing balance and continuing to accelerate while you're making high-speed turns? Think about a pass rusher, okay, defensive end, outside linebacker, DeMarcus Ware, or Jared Allen. When they're coming past the tackle, they're dipping, staying on balance, accelerating, trying to get past and under that tackle. You can't stand up, you can't decelerate. So you're accelerating through and by that tackle while staying low, no different than around these cones. And since you have to do it 2 or 3 times in the weave pattern, scouts and coaches can see whether or not you've got flexibility in your hips and an ability to accelerate. Now, an excellent time for a skill position player is 7 seconds in this drill. Back in 2008, Malcolm Jenkins, 6.74. Tremendous for a tall corner. And again, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, 6.59. 2 excellent times for tall corners, showing how they can accelerate and weave, simulating what you're going to have to do in an NFL game situation. The first set of shuttles is the short shuttle, also known as the 5-10-5. What it tests for scouts and coaches is your lateral quickness, burst, and acceleration in a short area. Now, I call it the 5-10-5 because here's what happens. You get the 3-point stance, hand down. You got to touch the ground. Those scouts will make sure you're touching the ground with that hand. You explode out low and hard for 5 yards. When you get to that 5-yard cone, you bend. And I want to see hip flexion, knee flexion, and ankle flexion. Going to touch with my right hand and then pivot, turn, and go 10 yards in the other direction. Again, now this time, bend, flex, down, left hand on the line. Got to touch that line or they won't let you have the time. Then, and again, you pivot, you turn, and you finish 5 yards through your original starting point. 5, 10, 5. Now again, it's important for literally every position. Why? For the little guys, it's obvious. Quickness, acceleration, change of direction. How about the big guys? Can they bend? Offensive tackles, defensive ends. Can you bend? Are you a natural bender or are you a heavy-legged waist bender? A great time for defensive back is the 4.2. In the 09 Combine, Clay Matthews, linebacker from USC, he ran a 4.18. Think about it. A linebacker running what is considered a great time for a defensive back, and oh, by the way, it was the identical time run the year before by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. Well, when you think about a quarterback in the NFL, what do we think about? Hey, it's a pass-first league, and it has been for quite some time. So when I go to the combine, I want to see these guys throw the football. And what the coaches and the scouts want to see is 3-step drop, 5-step drop, 7-step drop. And then within those drops, you're going to go through what they call the route tree. What's the route tree? Well, you're going to run slant, you're going to run an out, you're going to throw an in, you're going to throw a corner route known as a 7 route, and finally the deep route to go. And there's kind of a misperception amongst a lot of players and scouts that maybe quarterbacks shouldn't throw at the combine because they don't know their receivers. They haven't had a chance to work with. Whoever gets next in line is your receiver. And what if I overthrow a guy, underthrow him, too high, too low, behind him? Coaches and scouts could care less about that. They want to see the ball come out of your hand. What are they looking for? The same thing I'm looking for. What they're looking for is first footwork, 3-step drop, under center. Remember, a lot of these college quarterbacks have never been under center in their lives. They're all back in the spread. The shotgun, get under center, 3-step. What kind of footwork do you have? Do you have the proper footwork? Plant, drive the throw. 5-step drop. Intermediate route. You've got to get 3 big steps, 2 small ones, get the ball out. 7-step drop, deeper throw. Again, footwork, really critical. Bill Walsh once said he could watch a tape of a quarterback's feet during a game and tell you whether or not he had a good or bad game. Really important. Secondly, how do they carriage the football? Is it up here where it belongs? Remember back a few years ago, Phillip Rivers was down here. Everybody was all upset. Phillip Rivers has turned into a pretty good quarterback. But what kind of carriage do they have? Is it up here where it's supposed to be? And finally, how about arm strength? That's why we're going to throw that 7 route. That's why we're going to throw the 9 route. We're going to watch these quarterbacks drop back 5 to 7 yards and throw the football. They want to see it come out of your hands. They don't really care whether the wide receiver catches it or not. I remember back at the 2008 Combine, young guy that not many people knew about, Joe Flacco from the University of Delaware. He's a kid who I went and watched him practice in September of his senior year. He blew me away with arm strength. He went down to that combine and he blew away all the coaches and scouts. He threw every route. He threw every route with excellent footwork, and at 6'6", 240 pounds, he put himself on the map with his performance at the combine. Ultimately, of course, he became a first-round pick, and what a quarterback he's been for the Baltimore Ravens. My favorite drill for the running backs is the off-tackle reaction drill. And this is a drill where a running back starts in a 2-point stance, just like an I-back, takes the football from a coach, and then he's going to run through the cones and accelerate over a series of bags. And at the end of those bags is another coach holding a bag. And whichever way he goes with that bag, he's going to rotate it left or he's going to rotate it right. Whichever way he rotates it, the running back has to go opposite. Just like the coach is a defender who wants to tackle him. And if he's heading this way, you're going the other way. So what it is, and what all the coaches and scouts are looking for, is the initial burst through the cone, then the acceleration over a group of bags. Now remember, you can't be looking down at those bags. You've got to be looking at the coach just like he's a tackler. So your vision's got to be up here, not down here. And then once you get accelerated over all those bags and that coach gives you the left or the right, you've got to plant, pivot, turn, accelerate, and get up the field. Make a tackler miss. Now, a few years back, there was a lightly regarded running back out of West Virginia by the name of Steve Slayton. When I watched him do this drill, some guys just get it. They're born with great footwork and an innate feel for the game. This kid stuck his foot in the ground, pivoted away from the coach, and accelerated, and I went, wow. Somebody's going to get a find with this kid, and that somebody ended up being the Houston Texans. If you've ever watched the NFL Scouting Combine on NFL Network, you're probably a fan of a drill for the wide receivers and tight ends called the gauntlet. What's the gauntlet? It's pretty cool. What happens is a wide receiver or tight end will get a throw from a coach, catch the ball, drop it, and then he's going to run down a yard line, like a 10-yard line, all the way across the field, 53 2/3 yards across the field. There will be 5 quarterbacks, 3 on one side, 2 on another, basically on a 45-degree angle. And as you're running down this line straight, you've got to get your vision to the first quarterback immediately. Pluck the ball with your hands. Don't let it into your body, because if you let it into your body, you'll never get ready for the next throw. Catch the ball out here, throw it away. Vision to quarterback number 2. Straight line. Don't be weaving all over the place. Boom. Pluck it. Drop it. Boom. Boom. Next quarterback. Pluck it. Drop it. And all the way across. Now, the whole key to this drill is number 1, vision. You've got to get your eyes to that next quarterback immediately. Number 2, out in front of you. Don't let it into your chest. If it gets into your chest, you'll never catch it, control it, and get rid of it in time to be ready for the next quarterback. He might take your head off. And finally, it's just all about hand-eye coordination and running in a straight line. And when I talk to my coaching and scouting buddies, they have very different opinions of this drill. The scouts kind of like it. Hand-eye coordination, ability to concentrate, catch the ball 5 times cleanly in a row while running in a straight line. Sounds like good stuff. Coaches hate it. Why? What do coaches preach? Ball security. There's just something inherently wrong in a coach's mind to catch a football and throw it away. Simulates a fumble. Coaches don't coach fumbles. So coaches don't really like this drill, and I kind of get a kick out of teasing them a little bit, because I